The Republican Party is imploding right now. Or that's at least what it looks like because they're getting heat from all sides. You got Democrats going for their throats because that's always what Democrats do. It works, so I can't blame them. Then you got people in the middle trying to be on the outside looking in saying, well, who's going to be a better suited fit to make my life better, to move this country forward, the Republicans or the Democrats? So they're looking at Democrats right now and they say, okay, you guys won the House, you won the Senate. You're about to take control of the executive branch, so you look like you got a whole team going on over here. It looks like you're all on the same page. Then they open the door to the Republican House and they go, whoa, you got fighting, kicking, screaming. You're a fraud. You're a traitor. You're part of the swamp. And they just shut the door and they go, I'm going to let you guys figure it out. So I think a lot of people in the middle are going to lean towards supporting the Democrats because they look at them as, the unity side, because it seems like they have a lot going for them. So then you got Republicans that are giving elected Republicans the most amount of heat. And the reason for it is because people who voted for Republicans, they feel betrayed. Because a lot of these elected officials, they said, we're going to make sure we hear these claims of voter fraud and we're going to overturn this election. President Trump is going to get himself a second term. Just wait and sit back, everybody. We're going to fight for you. So then, of course, the big day comes and, well, it seems like they all turn their backs. So people are getting a lot of heat right now, and I have a few examples of Republicans that are probably getting some of the most heat, and I want to talk about if I think it's justified or not. So the first example I have for us is Vice President Mike Pence, and for the record, I kind of like the guy. I think he's well-spoken. I think he's someone you think of when you hear about someone running for president, right? He's respectful, he's very thorough, and he just seems like a pretty cool guy. So he was obviously a very good fit for President Trump because President Trump is a brawler. So you either like a brawler or you hate a brawler. You pick, okay? But Vice President Pence, he was someone that was a big supporter of President Trump these past 4 years. So post-2020 election, I never really heard him say something distinctive, whether he was for or against hearing the claims of voter fraud. I think he kind of just played the fence and he didn't want to say something to upset the other side. That's just my take. You can let me know if he did kind of stick his foot in the sand regarding one side. But the big day comes where we think there's going to be this big overturn of the election. You're going to have thousands or millions of ballots thrown out because they were proven there was fraud and Trump gets his second term. Well, it doesn't happen. Vice President Mike Pence says, I don't have the power to do it. So yeah, we're going to go through, certify the results, and it's going to be President-elect Biden. So everyone's giving him a bunch of backlash. And I'm not talking about Democrats giving him backlash for not invoking the 25th Amendment. I'm talking about Republicans saying you're spineless, you're a traitor, you're a rhino. So do I think it's justified against him? Yeah, I do. And the reason for that is because at a certain point, he should have been able to step up and at least talk to Trump and say, listen, we can't go on like this anymore. We know in our hearts we are not going to win this election. It's done. It's over. So we have to tell our supporters before, something erupts. And obviously something did erupt. But it just comes down to sort of like a class act type thing. You don't sit around and let somebody continue to tell lies. You got to stand up for yourself and you got to say, yeah, I got to do what's right. So I think if he were to stand up before January 6th, I'm talking about before the new year or even a day or two after the new year, to say, guys, listen, we hear you. We think that there was some, wacky stuff that went on in this election, but we don't have the power to overturn this election. I'm sorry. At least then people wouldn't have gotten their hopes up for the big day, right? January 6th. So I'll give you another example of someone getting a ton of heat, and that's Dan Crenshaw, another guy that I like. He's a wounded combat veteran. I believe he was a Navy SEAL, well-spoken. He's got good ideas. I think he's going to be a future presidential candidate. I just do. But he's getting a ton of heat because after the riots erupted, I think it was a couple days after, he talked about how, well, we were all lied to, and we knew that the results were never going to get overturned. Really? Well, why didn't you say something beforehand? What's the deal? Why was everyone so quiet? If everyone's going to come out now, all these Republicans, and say, well, we knew the whole time it wasn't going to get overturned, you would have saved a lot of speech and a lot of talk post January 6th if you said something before then. And maybe then people wouldn't, again, have gotten their hopes up for the big day because everyone actually thought January 6th was going to be the day that President Trump has the election overturned and he gets his second term. So does he deserve the backlash he's getting right now? 100%. I would have expected a lot more from him, especially being someone, with such a colorful career. I really thought he would have been someone to stand up way before, it was too late. But I got another example of individuals who are getting some backlash, or maybe should get some backlash. And that's snake oil salesman. And a snake oil salesman is someone that sells you lies. They sell you those comforting lies because it makes you feel better about yourself. So in terms of a snake oil salesman, I'm talking about people that built up this whole hysteria that, oh, President Trump is going to overturn the election and he's going to win his second term. You had people with millions of followers on Instagram, and every single day it was something new. Oh, we're hearing about a case in Georgia, something that happened in Pennsylvania, ballots that were dumped here, and then it would be like November 20th, right? And then December 4th. And the dates just kept getting pushed back. And, oh, just wait, keep faith, everyone. It's going to happen. And of course, it didn't happen. So these particular individuals, again, they built a big following these past 4 years. I would have expected them to lead us to, a much more respectful cause. The fact that they led us into this big lie, they lose a lot of credibility, in my opinion, and I don't really care to hear from them anymore. I just don't. That's my opinion. So where can we go from here? Because while I absolutely understand the criticism, not just for Pence and Crenshaw and snake oil salesman, right? Because I know a lot of Republicans are getting heat. I think someone who deserves some of the most heat, and this might be, uncomfortable to hear coming from me, but someone needs to say it, it's President Trump. Because at the end of the day, he's someone that if someone spoke out against him in the slightest bit, he barred them. And he told his supporters, like, hey, this person's the enemy, get rid of them, right? Never vote for him again. So I think in part, that's why Crenshaw and Pence never wanted to be the one to come out, because they said, man, this might be the end of my political career because Trump's going to rally his base against me and I'm going to have no one to vote for me in the future elections. Well, now, geez, I don't know how it's going to work out for you now. But because he ran his campaign like that, there is a certain level of, well, now we don't get actual, truths, now we just get this whole kind of, identity around him where it's like, if you don't support everything he says, well, now you're suddenly a communist or now you're a Democrat because you're speaking out against Trump. No. I don't want to be one of these snake oil salesmen that says, oh my God, Trump is someone that descended from the heavens and he's here to save us. He's just a guy who's a brawler, which I love, but I got to call him out where I think it sees fit. You can let me know if, suddenly that means I'm a leftist now. But kind of the last person that I actually take it back. Maybe President Trump doesn't deserve the most criticism. Here's who deserves the most criticism, actually. I take it back. But if you're making it this far in the video, it's someone potentially like you. If you're someone that is so glued to the Trump movement and, someone who's just so anti-left, you're just like, nope, I don't want to hear anything. My blinders are on. And nope, there was fraud. I don't want to hear it. This is rigged. If you're someone that's totally glued to that particular mindset, you're part of the blame. And if you're someone who doesn't want to remove yourself from that particular movement and open up and realize, okay, there were some bad things that happened with this administration. There's things we can do to improve. If you're someone that's going to say, well, I'm happy that the Republicans, they get what they deserve, right? And you're like, I'm never going to vote for him again. Well, if you're not someone that's going to stick around and try and improve the Republican Party or make a new party, I don't want to hear you cry and moan when Democrats win all the future elections, because if you don't stand up and start doing something now to change it, they're going to win everything. And they're going to erode our rights, the ones that we love. And you'll say, well, I won't comply. I just won't comply. All right. Well, what's going to happen when you eventually are no longer on this earth? The rights that we love are gone. And, well, you, someone who isn't going to comply, is no longer here. What's going to happen for the future generations? Because slowly and surely things are going to work themselves out of the system, and Democrats are just going to continue to control everything. So that's what I'm trying to say. We got to stand up and speak out against everything that went bad before, if we want to try and rebuild not the Republican Party, but the Libertarian Party, the Conservative Party, whatever it is that's going to be. So let me know what you think about this. Got a little lost in there, but I think Republicans definitely do deserve a lot of criticism right now, but I think kind of everybody associated with the whole Trump movement, Trump, Pence, Crenshaw, people who voted for him, I think everybody needs to look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, there's a lot of stuff that we did wrong, and we got to change if we want to get ourselves better for these future elections. So let me know what you think. You think I'm right? You think I'm wrong? Agree, disagree? I'm all open to ideas. Feel free to call me names. Trust me, I can take it. I'm from Jersey. So I appreciate you checking out the video, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.